A very warm welcome to all of you joining us today to yet another edition of the Spotlight. As you all know, we bring in a story that ignites change not only Sri Lanka, but to all of you watching us from around the world as well. The show is all about bringing in prominent and eminent personalities who bring glory to Sri Lanka or to the world in whatever they do. So today is no different. Join me in welcoming Mathilda Karlsson. Now, she was the first Sri Lankan equestrian to qualify for the 2020 Tokyo Olympics in the discipline of short jumping. A warm welcome and thank you for joining us today. Truly an honor to have you in our studios here at ITN.
Thank you so much for having me. It's a great pleasure.
And you look absolutely amazing.
Oh, thank you.
Yes, I was sort of expecting the entire the boots and all of that, but this is amazing as well.
Okay. Yeah, this would be too warm.
All right.
This is a better option.
So now you took part in the Olympics.
Yeah.
That is, I think, your greatest achievement for life.
Absolutely.
So what was that experience like, taking part in the Olympics?
It was absolutely my proudest moment in my life and my biggest achievement I ever had. It was such an amazing feeling riding into that big arena in Tokyo representing Sri Lanka.
All right. So a question. As you grew up in Sweden.
Yes.
And I think you hold dual citizenship.
Yeah.
So why did you not represent Sweden at the Olympics in Sri Lanka? What was the emotion there?
It's actually a very good question because I represented Sweden my whole career before I actually came here 2017. That was the first time I went back to Sri Lanka since I was born. I just came for a normal visit holiday to see the country, and I was amazed how beautiful this country was. And I met so many incredible, fantastic people, so friendly, so welcoming, that it was really clear for me very early in my visit that I need to change my nationality and represent Sri Lanka instead.
So, do you plan on competing again at the Olympics?
Definitely.
Really?
Yeah.
Is that one of your long-time goals or short-time goals?
100%, yeah.
All right. So, in terms of your relationship with your horse,
yes.
How did it start? How did you pick your horse?
That is kind of great because I bred him myself. He's born at my place. That's kind of rare. I was one of very few people at the Olympics that actually bred the horses themselves.
Right. Why is it rare?
Because, so many horses get born, but to have an Olympic horse is very rare. That's why it's so difficult. Not every horse is born with such talent like mine was.
Of course.
And it's so many factors. Even if you breed the horses, you need to click with them. The personalities needs to match. Mm-hmm. And I was so blessed to have Chopin in my stable and have him as my partner at the Olympic Games.
So let's talk about your childhood.
Yeah.
Was it something that you always saw growing up? I'll be in the Olympics one day.
Absolutely not. I started riding when I was 7, 8, and I fell in love with the horses and definitely also the sport, but I didn't start competing until really late because I never thought that I would have the chance to become an international show jumper. Nevertheless, I never thought that I would have the chance to go to our Olympic Games.
So why is it the equine sport that you chose? Why not something like football or cricket? I don't know.
I think that's
swimming.
what my parents still ask themselves, this is crazy. Why did she pursue show jumping? Even for my
And it is also a very expensive sport.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That is the issue with this sport, to be honest, because it limited the wideness of the sport, obviously, because it is a very expensive sport and you need to have really good sponsors and horse owners that supports you. And it definitely get easier once you get known and you actually reach the top level to find sponsors, because then it's a win-win situation. But to get there is very difficult. And I was, again, really, I don't like to use the word lucky because I think luck is a lot about your working mentality and the work that you put in. But I've been very blessed to have amazing people supporting me.
So now your visit to Sri Lanka this time,
Yes.
2024, because you know someone might be watching us in 2048. You never know, right?
Yes.
So what is the speciality of this visit this time to Sri Lanka?
I got invited from Teardrop Hotels to stay in some of their hotels, and so we just made an official visit out of it, and so far it's been amazing.
All right. So what are you doing throughout your stay here in Sri Lanka? Anything special that stands out?
Yeah, we actually have a meet and greet with the Ceylon lobby tomorrow, and then we go down south to Como Beach, and then up in Camellia Hills to end a really nice visit and to learn more about the foundations that the Teardrop Group is supporting.
Now, from Sri Lanka, you went into Sweden back when you were young. What is the story behind this?
Well, I was born in Sri Lanka, and then I was adopted to Sweden as a baby, and then I grew up in Sweden, and then moved actually to Germany to pursue my career as a show jumper.
Really?
So
your work base is in Germany?
Yes, I currently living in Germany, Hamburg, Germany, and that is where my life is now. Since 20 years.
My goodness. So, what discipline do you specialize in?
In show jumping.
Okay, what is this all about?
Well, I mean, show jumping is a part of the equestrian. We have dressage, show jumping, and eventing. Eventing is a little bit from all three, or both two. And dressage, I don't know how to explain it really good, but it's like kind of, you imagine we dance with the horses, with our movements and the body language and the power of our body. We make the horses do different kind of movements. And I do show jumping, which is jumping over hurdles and jumps and fences.
So that it sounds very difficult, because even as humans we have this thing called running over hurdles at sports meets back in Sri Lanka.
Exactly.
So doing that with a horse must be difficult. Training must be also difficult as well. Let's talk about your process of training.
Well, yeah, of course it's difficult, because my partner is a living being with emotions and a character. Also, he also gets sick and not feeling good sometimes, and he can't speak to me. So I need to spend a lot of time in the stable taking care of him, just to get to know my horses, so that I will when I look into their eyes, that I will know and feel that something is wrong without them being able to actually speak to me.
How do you do that? How do you speak to an animal?
Well, I don't really speak to them, obviously.
But how do you communicate?
But it's just,
how do you know he is tired or she is tired?
When you know a living animal or a being, I think you adapt to their emotions, and you can just feel it. And that's the key to become a successful show jumper, is to know your horses really well, to have spent hours in the stable. The riding part, the training, is very little.
Really?
Because it's only like maybe 10% of what actually it takes. You need to know your horse really well, and they need to trust you to 100%.
So in terms of work, is this a full-time process that you do, or do you do something other than heading into the equine world?
No, it's definitely a full-time job.
Really?
Yeah, it's so time-consuming, because I spend my whole day in the stable, and then I'm obviously exhausted afterwards. But also I travel. We go to competition all over the world. I've been to every single continent competing with my horses. So I travel a lot, and basically every single weekend.
What is life like in the stables, or what is life like in the day of Mathilda Karlsson?
My point of view, of course, is my happy place. Really? It's where I really feel at home. I mean, yeah.
All right. So now you have competed at the highest point of sporting, right? What do you think of Sri Lanka from a global perspective?
Sri Lanka is obviously very new to this sport, and I think me representing Sri Lanka at such a huge event as the Olympics opened up the eyes for a lot of Sri Lankans that it even is a sport called, Olympic sport called show jumping. And we are definitely in the very beginning of starting up something. but the basics are already here for sure, because we have great riding school in Sri Lanka, and children have the possibility to teach how to ride. But I think the riding part is, as I said so many times now, like the riding part is very little. You might pay for the riding lessons, but you get this to spend the time in the stable probably for free.
Now, if someone wants to head into, to become an equestrian athlete,
Yeah.
I'm not sure how to phrase this, but correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah.
Do you consider it more of a sport or a job? Because it's a full-time thing as well.
Yeah.
You also have to live. You have to feed yourself.
Yeah.
How do you strike that balance? Is it, I'm not going to ask you if you get paid enough for it, but if someone wants to head into this full-time,
Yeah.
what would you tell them? Is it more of a...
I would say it's a lifestyle, because it takes up your whole life, and you need to love it. You need to have the fire in your body for this sport, because it's so time consuming and really heavy, obviously, like on your body and also mentally, but it's the nicest thing. And it would be great for Sri Lanka actually to get, maybe one day have a system where you can send young people maybe abroad to get like new ideas and figure out how can we together bring this sport on a higher level to Sri Lanka.
So my next question for you is, do you not want to come back to Sri Lanka to settle down and make things work here? Since we're new to the industry as well, it would be great to have you full-time in the country.
Oh, that's nice. Actually, the more I visit Sri Lanka, the more it kind of pops up in my mind if I don't want to spend more time here. Through my visits, I have met incredible people that I'm very fortunate now to call my friends, and I feel more and more at home when I come.
So no plans on permanently staying here?
As long as I pursuing my career as a show jumper, I have to stay in Europe, because that is just where the best riders in the world is training and riding, and you need to match yourself with the best to become the best. But you never know when I finally gonna retire.
You never
I
know.
hope it's gonna take a while, but then my dream would definitely be to maybe have like a summer, for me, then winter house, to spend more time here.
So when you retire, what would be after that for Mathilda Karlsson?
I mean, now when I'm taking a little bit of a break, I have been more involved in humanitarian work and charities for pushing education and help children. So that's something that has just grown really close to my heart, that is something that really fulfills me, and it would be great for me to take up some more causes in Sri Lanka to have that as a priority.
That's right now. And also when we say the equine sport, for some people the term is also quite new.
Yes.
Because usually people say horse rider,
Yes.
right? So, but there is actually more to it as well. There are more people involved. Sometimes it's a huge team involved in the process. Let's talk a bit about that as well.
Yeah, because
It's not just the rider involved.
no, not at all. A lot of people think it's like a single sport, and obviously I'm the front man, being the rider, and my horse is the front horse. But it's such a huge team behind us that is so important. I have grooms and riders working, trainers, blacksmith, veterinarians is so important, that I could never have been where I am today if it wasn't for my team behind me.
So in terms of numbers, what are we looking at as an average team behind you, backing you?
I think in an average you have about maybe between 5 and 10 people definitely working behind the scenes.
So that is a myth that has to be broken. It's not just you.
No, it's definitely not just me, and it's very important to bring out that for me, because as I say, it's impossible for me to do this alone. I travel so much, so I need to have very responsible people at home that I can trust fully, that is taking the best care of my horses when I'm not around, when I'm traveling.
That's right. As a country, as Sri Lanka, we're new to the world, new to the equine world. What more can we do for this sport?
Well, first of all, like I said, it would be great to have like a foundation or like something like a program to send young people abroad, maybe to Germany, maybe to me. I would love to just teach them more, like see the real sport and get a vision, like so we can help together to make Sri Lanka a stronger country for the equestrian sport, and hopefully one day get a team together. How great would that be?
Definitely, definitely. And we are hoping that the legacy that you leave will inspire many more in the field as well, to come forward and to bring glory to our country. Up next, my question for you is, how do you train? It's also it's important to stay physically fit. Mental strength, emotional well-being, all of that comes into play.
Absolutely.
How do you prepare?
I feel like I really need to be as fit as I can be physically. I'm a little bit in disadvantage because I'm very short and very light. People might think that that is something that a horse would appreciate, but actually, the horses are very big. The ones that we use for show jumping, they're about 800 kilos. So for me to have the strength to control them, I really need to be super fit. So I go to the gym about 6 times a week minimum to be as strong in my body as I can be. And what you said as well is really important, I think, is to be strong mentally. And I take a lot of help with mental training. I think that have really changed my performance a lot. I never been a nervous person. That was never my problem. But I had a lot of problems focusing, and I got a lot of tools to help me with like just getting more focused. And also, we all struggle, I don't think just athletes, but like with the doubt, am I good enough? Is this really gonna work out? Is this for me? And also being afraid to fail. And like I've learned to learn from failing, and that's the way to grow. And you never really learn from success. It's only the failures that actually defines you, and that's what makes you a better person and an athlete.
Talking about a moment which would have been quite sad for you, your horse on your big day did not do the jump.
Exactly, yeah.
I did some reading up on that. How did you feel at that very moment? What was running through your mind when he refused to jump?
We're such a close team, me and my horse, and I had, we had a round before that, and that was like, he was outstanding. Like I had such a good confidence riding into that arena on that day. But I think it's just, we know each other so well that he probably, it's the biggest performance in your lifetime. Yeah. I think he felt, because he knows me so well, that my emotions changed a little bit, and that I approached this water jump. He never had a problem with water jumps ever, but I think he just felt like my movements got different because I approached it. It's 4 meters wide, which is wide, very wide at the Olympic Games, but I approached it probably his feelings that it was like gonna be 20 meters wide. Like I really like put a lot of leg on to be like secure that he was gonna jump it, and I think that just he just felt like something is off. Exactly, and he got scared, and I can't blame him. Like it's not his fault at all. We're a team. If he feels like something is off, just like when he feels my other emotions, he have to react. And it's something that we learn from this experience to just be more in sync. And I needed to work more on my emotions to control it, to not like have him adapt to that.
To this day, do you hold it against him?
Never. I mean, we saw a lot of bad things at the Olympics, like people falling off and crashing into fences, and none of us got hurt. I mean, obviously my pride got a little kick, but my horse, nothing changed. He didn't get scared of the fences. He reacted in a moment, but he left Tokyo being sounder, fitter than ever, and with a great confidence anyway. So I think I could never hold that against him, and it was just a learning curve.
All right, welcome back to the show this Monday evening. Mathilda, once again, thank you for joining us and being with us on this week's edition of the Spotlight.
Thank you for having me.
All right, so just before the break, we were talking about your horse refusing to take that jump, and off air we were, I was just mentioning if it happened to me, I would be bawling my eyes out.
Yeah.
But after this incident, how did you come out of it? How did you navigate through that step back in life?
I mean, obviously the disappointment was to be seen when I was riding out of that arena. I never felt disappointed in my horse, but I did feel very disappointed in myself because I knew that we could do better. The expectations was definitely to get to the final. I knew that it would be very difficult to get a medal. Of course, you go to a championship and you aiming for a medal, but realistic, I thought it would, because it was our first championship. I knew that it would be difficult, but that the water jump would be our elimination would never have crossed my mind.
Really?
Yeah.
So in terms of growth, how
Yeah.
has it been since then? How have you used that moment in your life, that defining moment, to sort of come out in terms of better growth, better mentality, more positive optimism in life? How have you used it?
I think that is also a really good question because I didn't know how my life would be after the Olympics, after this, and I could feel myself just being actually more confident because the experience that we gained, me and my horse, after the Olympics, we took a little bit of like a month break, and my horse had to travel back to Germany from Tokyo and have a little bit of a rest. So did I. And then when we picked up, I kind of felt like Chopin had also developed himself, like he had just grown. He was like an adult suddenly. Like this experience had just taken him way further. Like, I could really feel what it had done to him.
So you felt like it had affected him as well?
Yeah, because also I don't think just not just the class at the Olympics, but the preparation that we did was excellent. We had a super preparation. So for my horse, he was in the best shape ever, and I could really feel that had brought him more strength to his body and everything. So the performance after that actually was great.
And the good thing is, when in most cases, most cases, if something bad happens to someone, they think, okay, this is it.
Yeah.
I'm not going to continue again. But in your case, you took it in a different way, which is truly important to people watching us today, because that really tells us, even if we fail at something, you should never stop.
Absolutely. I mean, of course, I think I would be lying if I said that the disappointment, that like if it never crossed my mind, like, oh, should I really do this? Is this maybe the end for me? But I am a generally positive person, and also my team helped enormously to keep the confidence up. That this was just a milestone. Like, this is just something that's gonna take us even further with the experience that we'd gain, and because of my team and maybe my positive attitude, we could turn it around to just come out stronger and better and more focused.
Right. Now, in terms of, let's talk about, now in Sri Lanka, we do have a few governing bodies as well. In the international arena, how does it work? Is it very strenuous, very strict? Is there someone to help you out, to keep you updated with the new regulations that come in with the sport?
It's actually a weak point, I have to say. Yeah. I mean, we don't really have anyone that tells us a good training plan or anything. It's very up to every single rider to do the best plan for their horse. It would be great if someone would just support the riders a little bit more. But in the end of the day, also, as a rider, you know your horse better than everyone else. I think you're the one that can make the best plan for your horse.
All right. Now, in terms of grooming with the horse, are you always there when the horse is being groomed, whether it's physical, medical checkups? Are you there one-to-one?
Medical checkups for sure, because it's only me that could really explain to the veterinarians, let's say, how my horse feels. If I feel like something is off, how does it feel? Where can it come from? So then yes, but in the normal daily grooming, no, I'm not always there. Like that's why I have such a good grooms at home, because I trust them, and and Chopin loves them. So and they are way better in grooming now than I am.
All right. So what is life like for you outside being an equestrian athlete?
Well, it's a lot of traveling.
In addition to the humanitarian work you do as well, is there anything else that inspires you, things that you love to do?
I mean, obviously fashion have always been like a big passion of mine, and I have had the honor to work with fantastic brands the last couple of years, and I really love it. I think the brands sees that in me as well. Like I have this platform of being a public person and an international show jumper, and I think because I enjoy it so much, they like to work with me as well.
All right. Now, in terms of, let's talk about your life as an equestrian athlete.
Yeah.
Whenever you head into the arena
Yeah.
to compete, whether it's the Olympics or a normal day
Yeah.
or a championship, how do you feel? How do you feel on that day? How do you prepare for it mentally?
Like I say, like I don't never struggled really with like bad nerves. I'm always super excited. I love this sport so much.
So you do love competing.
I love competing. I started out my career not competing. I was a groom for a very long time, so I was behind the scenes. But once you actually becomes the front man, and if you're a little bit of a competitive person, it's just what you want to do. I love it so much. So the feeling is incredible every time you enter the arena, and I never struggle with nerve, like I said. So for me, it's only pure joy.
All right. Now, whenever you talk to people about the sport that you do, have there ever been moments where you're like, no, that's not true, that's just a myth? How many myths have you busted over your?
A lot. Like I think the most common one is probably that people think that I have the perfect body size to be a rider. Because often when I tell people I'm a rider, they
expect you to be very tall.
No, I mean they think about it as a jockey, doing races. Because that's what I guess is most known. And I would be a perfect jockey, obviously, because I'm tiny and I'm light. But
so jockey is different.
Jockeys is very different. Yes, they need to watch their weight and shouldn't be too tall, because the horses are also smaller than the ones that we use. But to be a show jumper, you actually need to be quite strong and taller.
All right, so let's tell people watching us today something that they don't know about you.
Something that they don't know about me. I can't cook.
You can cook? Okay.
No. Yeah, I love fashion. I have a dog that I love very much.
You do? And what's the name?
Cookie.
That's my dog's
name.
Oh,
really?
Too.
No. Yeah.
Yes. I'm not joking.
Yeah. That's so cool. And she travels with me most of the times.
Really?
Well. Yeah. I take her everywhere.
Okay, that's something that people didn't know about the both of us then.
No, exactly.
Perfect. So, okay, that was pretty fun.
Yeah.
How do you spend time alone? Do you have times where you need to take a step back when you get overwhelmed?
Yeah.
It could be your sanctuary, your alone time.
I mean, this time now, when I decided to take a break from show jumping, I didn't know how I would feel not competing, because it's been such a big part of my life for so long. But I have to say it was one of the best decisions I had to make, because it was also mentally really hard on me for a while, and this really made me more focused. I'm way more hungry than I was before, and I really can't wait to next year when I start competing again.
So what can we do more? Now this sport is also expensive.
Yeah.
I know I asked you this, but in terms maybe of training, coaches, what is that starting step we can take here to uplift it?
I think
Because there is so much of potential in Sri Lanka, so much untapped talent. You don't have to be a rider, just riding the horse. There's so many other avenues
Yes.
in the industry.
Exactly.
What can you tell people watching us today?
I mean, I think the milestone is a little bit already settled because I know that the riding schools here have brought in FEI teachers how to groom horses, and I think that is the base that every rider or a groom or anyone that works with horses should have. How do you treat your horse as best as possible? And that was already done, and I think that was an amazing initiative to do that, and that needs to be done more often to bring in people that have been in the sport, that have been taking care of horses on professional levels for a long time, to teach young Sri Lankan what it's all about, to take care of, and also maybe in the future become grooms. We need grooms. That is the most important job behind the rider.
All right. What is your hope for the Sri Lankan equine sport arena?
I really hope one day we will have a team together. Unfortunately, probably I will not be competing when that happens. But
you
maybe,
might be the one training them. You never know.
maybe, exactly.
Yeah.
You know, I was just gonna say that maybe I could be the coach and the chef to keep one day for the Sri Lankan team, show jumping team. Wouldn't that be like absolutely amazing?
All right, so Mathilda,
Yeah.
in terms of things that inspire you, has there been a person, a story that has motivated you to keep going in the industry?
I mean, I have to say probably my family, because they are not horsey at all. They're not into horses at all, but they have been so supportive of my choice of career. Like even if they thought it was totally crazy at one point, they always believed in me. They always helped me as much as they could. Financially, of course, it wasn't possible for them to help me pursue it as a career, but they always been behind me, and I always know that I have people to call and to lean back on.
That's something which is crucial to, especially to our Sri Lankan community.
Yeah.
I'm glad you brought this up, because it's a norm that
Yeah.
you're either supposed to be an engineer, a lawyer, or a doctor.
Yes.
It's either that norm has to be broken.
Yes.
And the fact that there are parents out there are parents in Sri Lanka as well who are very supportive, but the fact that they're supportive in the choice of careers you take,
Yeah.
that is important.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that you had that in life to pursue such an important, and you're
definitely.
bringing glory to your country.
Oh.
Yeah. So what do you have to tell to young people wanting to come into the sport, but who are also on second thoughts?
I think it's all about working really, really hard and not to be afraid to ask for help. I was, as I said, so lucky to have found people that saw potential in me and helped me, and I think that's the way to go. Take help from people with same passion, and don't be afraid to ask questions, or maybe just be partners.
All right, welcome back to the final lap of the show this Monday evening on this week's edition of the Spotlight. Just before we headed into our break, I mentioned that we have an interesting segment lined up for you, Mathilda. So as promised, we deliver. So the segment is, we had a segment, some questions lined up for you from the public.
Okay.
Questions that they want to ask you in case they don't get to physically meet you.
Yeah, great.
And so I will ask these questions to you, so feel free.
Okay.
First question is, any decisions you regret in life, be it professionally, personally, or in the arena, and you want to tell these to people so that they don't want to make the same mistake again?
That is a very good question. I don't know if I think every time when I thought that I regret something, or like you have this moment of why did I do this? Why did this happen to me? I often, very, very often look back later in time or in life, and I said like, oh, I'm so happy that that happened or that I experienced it, even if it was hard at the time, because it just moved me to a different person. It just made me stronger, made me smarter, or just maybe made me move because I was uncomfortable where I was.
Next question. How do you balance your time with your humanitarian work and your sport?
It is difficult. I've always done a lot of fundraising, charities, and I've been involved in humanitarian work, but from not physically because I've been so busy competing so much. So that's why I'm taking the break now to do all this charity works and humanitarian work. But it's not going to be possible for me when I start competing again next year to be much physically involved anymore. So it is difficult.
All right. How would you describe your personality?
I think I'm in general a happy, positive person. I'm very stubborn.
Right.
And I don't like to take no for an answer.
Right. Next question. Are you an introvert or an extrovert?
It depends, I think, of what people I'm surrounded by.
Oh, so ambivert.
Oh, is it? Is it a word? Yeah. Okay.
Ambivert.
Okay. Yeah. So I'm
So ambivert is you're sort of very warm around those you know.
Exactly.
And if you don't know the person, you take a while to
warm
sort of
up.
analyze
Yes,
the person,
exactly.
you
Yeah.
study.
So
that's
if
an
I do
ambivert.
speak a lot to you when I first meet you, you know I really like you.
Okay, that's brilliant. How do you network with other equestrians?
Equestrian sport is quite a social sport if you compare to a lot of other athletes and sports divisions. So we actually talk a lot in between, and most of my friends are equestrian. We are rivals in the ring, but we are like really good friends once the show day is over, and we communicate a lot.
On the day of the Olympics, what was the ambience like?
It was incredible. I mean, not just on the day of the Olympics. I have to say, like, the experience in Tokyo at the Olympics was insane. Like, I didn't sleep much because I was just taking it all in. It was incredible.
But don't you need sleep?
I do. Yeah, I do. I slept enough, but I
Yeah.
tried to really be everywhere. I had really FOMO, like fear of missing out on something. And that feeling of riding into that arena representing Sri Lanka was incredible.
All right. How do you deal with hate and negativity on social media?
I'm really lucky I haven't had much of it. I think if you don't give them a platform, if you don't respond, like hate grows from that they get, what do you call it, like that you actually activate or is active against it. And I only welcome positive vibes on my platform.
Perfect. I like that answer. All right. Now you have traveled to many countries, I believe. A country that you would like to ride in with your horse, a dream destination.
Sri Lanka.
Really?
I mean, how cool would that be if everyone could see me live? If that would be possible, it's not at the moment, but if that ever could be possible, that would be definitely my proudest moment. Olympic would be nothing compared to that.
What is stopping you from doing that?
Because Sri Lanka don't have any competitions here.
Oh, maybe not. Why not to just come and ride?
I would do that, yes,
would?
for sure, yes.
So maybe we could hope for that very soon.
Definitely. Next time.
All right. A final question from our public is, if you could be someone else and you've got a day, who would you choose to be?
Wow, that's difficult. I know so many people popped up to my mind. If I could be someone else, who would I choose? I don't know, like, wouldn't it be great to maybe be an astronaut or something, like
Astronaut?
really
You want to
something
visit
like
the
really
moon? You
cool
want to go to
stuff?
the moon?
Yeah, just something like totally insane.
All right. So we are sort of on our final few minutes on the show. And just before we close, I want to especially thank you for joining us today and for being here in Sri Lanka. You have visited a few times, I know. But, making the effort to come and speak to us and to speak to everyone watching us today. So my final one or two questions for you is, what is your hope for the future?
My hopes and dreams and goals are definitely to take part in the Los Angeles Olympic Games 2028. And once, yeah, in 4 years, yeah. It sounds maybe long now, but I know from the last experience.
Time will go, trust me.
You can never have too much time to prepare to qualify for Olympics. And that is my main goal, that's my end game. I really want to represent Sri Lanka in yet another Olympics.
From now to 2028,
yes.
What is your preparation going to look like? You don't have to give us your secrets, but what does it look like? What are we looking at?
Main goals is definitely, before I start competing again, to find more sponsors, host owners, people that want to be more involved in the sport, that can help to realize my dreams and be a part of my journey.
All right. Final question. As I told you, it's not a question per se, but what do you want to tell everyone watching us today?
Actually, I want to thank everyone for all the amazing support that I have got from social media and other platforms. The support at the Olympics and after was incredible, and it really warmed my heart, even if I didn't have time to maybe answer every message I got. I read them all and I loved it. Thank you.
All right, I had a few more questions, but I will definitely send them to you from the public because we were running short of time.
Okay.
But on that note, we have to end things for today. And I'm very honored to have this conversation with you. And on behalf of ITN, we would like to wish you all the very best.
Thank you so much.
For 2028. Fingers crossed, and we're hoping that you will bring us back a gold medal back home.
Thank you so much. Let's keep in touch.
Definitely. So on that note, we end this week's edition of The Spotlight. Join me again next Monday, same time, same place. You know where to find us. And stay tuned for a story that will ignite change. Until then, have a pleasant night.